Good evening from San Ignacio Town with the evening news. I am Tefara Martinez. In the headlines, shooting incident in Belize City leaves one man injured. Political activist acquitted of misdemeanor charge. And government says PUP lawsuit against the Prime Minister is a flimsy political maneuver. Details of these and other stories are coming up after these messages.
My dad never misses a football match.
Me neither.
Are you enjoying this game or what?
I'm loving every minute of it.
I can't miss this game, but I can't see it either.
Here, now you can. The game's on me.
Now, wherever there's internet, you don't have to miss a single minute of TV. And the best part of MyTV is it costs as little as $10 monthly for Central TV and Internet's customers. With 25 channels at your fingertips, you'll always be tuned in. MyTV is available only at Central TV and Internet. Log on and discover a new world of mobile TV.
Hey, do you happen to have a beer?
Here now is the news in detail. A shooting incident just before 9 o'clock last night in Belize City has left one man injured. The victim of the shooting incident has been identified as 31-year-old Victor Hendy, who works as a security guard. Police say that Hendy was on duty at a business establishment on Vernon Street when a man held up the restaurant at gunpoint. Investigations show that Hendy was able to dial the police's 911 emergency number to call for help. When the gunman was leaving the restaurant, he reportedly fired a single shot at the security guard, hitting Hendy in the neck. Hendy was taken to the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital for treatment and is admitted to ward in stable condition. Police say that after the shooting, the gunman and another man rode off towards Muzzle Street, making good their escape. Authorities are looking for a man from Taylor's Alley whom they believe can assist police in their investigation of last night's shooting. The Guatemalan claim has taken a backseat as a national issue to many others, but it is still on the minds of the People's United Party. The original date for the referendum on settling the unfounded Guatemalan claim to Belize at the International Court of Justice, ICJ, in The Hague, Netherlands, has come and gone, and the Referendum Commission has gone mostly silent. At the time of the launch of the referendum campaign, the People's United Party, PUP, refused to take a public position pending internal consultations. While there is still a formal position paper to be written, the party says it will accept a referendum on the issue but will ask its supporters to say no. PUP leader Francis Fonseca tells why. Part of the PUP's misgivings, according to former Foreign Affairs Minister and party advisor Eamon Courtney, is that the party and, in their views, Belizeans have no confidence in Attorney General and current Foreign Affairs Minister Wilfred Sedi Elrington.
Led into the ICJ by an Attorney General who is confused about the integrity of our maritime borders in the south of this country. It is the consensus of the party that the team in charge of this fight in the ICJ is not a team that we can trust. Secondly, we do not believe that the government of Guatemala is acting in good faith. There is no point going to the ICJ and winning the case if the government of Guatemala will not, in good faith, implement the result that we expect. We have seen consistent, continual invasions of our territory by Guatemalan nationals, with the government of Guatemala turning a blind eye. And what is worse, when security forces of Belize insist on our sovereignty being respected and have to act in their defense, our government acts in singular weakness and end up paying and compensating Guatemalans.
Courtney also argues that Belize should extract certain promises from Guatemala, whom has a track record of not following through on its commitments where Belize is concerned. Guatemala eventually dropped out of the referendum process, but the two countries recently signed multiple bilateral agreements. The annual Community Business Fair took place in Belize City today as part of the now month-long education showcase. This year, the topic that students worked on was solutions for youth employment in the old capital. We spoke to organizer of the event and partner with the international firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, Mitch Russell.
This is the finals of the High School Innovation Challenge. We have students from 15 different schools across Belize City and the surrounding area competing sort of against one another to come up with the most creative and innovative plan for tackling youth unemployment in Belize City.
And what's going to be there's going to be a contest here today, and tell us about it, the breakdown, how it's going to be done.
So we have 7 different judges, 2, myself and another one of my partners from PwC in the United States, and then 4 members of the Belize City business community, 3 of which are from sort of the Chamber of Commerce, if you will. And what we're looking for in these teams is who's got the most creative idea for tackling the problem. Going back a little bit, since Monday, 2 colleagues from PwC have been working with each individual team. So we have 30 different volunteers from PwC working with the teams to help them prepare for today's presentations.
That's a part of the overall way
Right.
how PwC works in terms of mentorship is a part of it, right?
Right.
What are some of the other objectives that you're hoping to come out of this program?
So PwC has been working with the City of Belize and Peacework, trying to teach financial literacy very successfully back to 2008. This program, which we kicked off last year in May, and we're doing it again this year, is really about empowering youth to prepare them for the workforce. So if you think about financial literacy education, one of the key components to that is workforce readiness and workforce preparation. So this program is really all about workforce preparedness.
According to Rochelle, the annual competition follows on from their regular training conducted during the summer months. Minister of Education Patrick Faber was also present and told reporters that the event encourages mentorship, particularly for some Belizean employees of the PwC firm and partner Peaceworks.
That is something that is very much desired here in Belize. We do need people who are professional and people who have accomplished themselves. I was very pleased to see, and it's not only on this occasion, that in fact in the group coming in from PwC, we have Belizeans. This year we have Miss Angelique Roberto, who is a Belizean operating out of, working out of Tampa. And so we do have very good role models, we do have very good mentors in the groups coming in, but also we have local Belizean mentors who are successful in what they do here and have taken the time over the last couple of days on this occasion to work with our young people to make sure that this experience is great for them.
Participating students took home various prizes for their appearances in the event. A male teacher from Mopan Technical High School in the Benqueviejo area has had his teacher's license revoked for alleged solicitation of male minors attending the school via Facebook when he sent them naked pictures of himself. He has yet to be criminally charged, but he has been dismissed from the school, and according to Minister of Education Patrick Faber, his name has been entered on a register which will keep him from not being able to apply for a job as a teacher or working with youths. He says the ministry is taking a proactive approach in dealing with offenders.
To people that this is something that has long been a desire of our ministry. We have seen where predators prey on our young people, and of course they move from one school to another school. And while this is nowhere near where we want to be, and I'm not casting any judgment on Mr. Pope, but the facts are what they are so far. He has a right, of course, to appeal to the appeals tribunal of the Teaching Services Commission, but as it stands now, his license is revoked and he is going to be listed on that register, and it is an effort to keep out predators from our schools and from working with our young people and further destroying the fabric of our social life here.
While not privy to the details as his personal decision, the minister says that his ministry has kept in touch with local authorities to keep them abreast of decisions like these that impact all schools. Leader of the opposition and of the People's United Party, Francis Fonseca, has filed a claim in the Supreme Court asking the court to declare unlawful Prime Minister Dean Barrow's refusal to bring into force the sections of the Sixth Amendment Constitution Act that deal with implementing a 13th member of the Senate to represent non-governmental organizations. Senior Counsel Eamon Courtney, who along with Senior Counsel Magali Marin Young represents Fonseca, outlined the claim at a press briefing hosted by the party at PUP headquarters on Wednesday morning. The Supreme Court had entertained a claim from several NGOs, including Belizeans for Justice and Citizens Organized for Liberty Through Action, COLA, several years ago, but dismissed it, saying it was a question for the National Assembly. Now the PUP is jumping into the fray, but only after allowing time for civil society to consider trying again. According to Courtney, the delay in instituting the claim is due to alleged attempts by government to interfere. In his remarks, the claimant spoke of how the 13th senator may have impacted recent attempts to find answers to allegations of government corruption which the Senate is normally empowered to investigate, but which attempts to initiate such investigations were thwarted by the government. According to Fonseca, civil society organizations are welcome to join the case as interested parties. No timeline has been set for hearing, but Fonseca hopes that with elections looming, the question will be dealt with sooner rather than later. The party plans to release other proposals for reform at a later date. The government of Prime Minister Dean Barrow has responded to the lawsuit filed on Wednesday by the leader of the opposition, Francis Fonseca, seeking to force the appointment of the 13th senator. The government has rejected the premise upon which the lawsuit was brought by the PUP leader, calling the claim as, quote, another desperate attempt by the political party that has been repeatedly and roundly rejected at the polls, end of quote. In a statement issued via the press office, government says that a previous claim brought by COLA 5 years ago was dismissed on the ground that the court affirmed that the Prime Minister has wide discretion on when to bring legislation into force. According to the government statement, the circumstances are not right at this point in time to appoint the 13th senator. Government, according to the release, said it say that the senator for the private sector had aligned with the opposition People's United Party and combined with a 13th senator appointed by non-governmental organizations would effectively take away government's majority in the Senate. This, the government release says, would mean that government's legislative agenda would be frustrated and delay or completely derail even urgent bills. The release ends by saying that Prime Minister Barrow and his government remains committed to working on the matter of creating the right environment so that the law can be brought into force as soon as the circumstances are appropriate. Regarding the PUP lawsuit, the government of Prime Minister Dean Barrow says that it is just another flimsy legal maneuvers and empty posturing. and an attempt to thwart the will of the people and try to gain power other than by way of the ballot." End of quote. The PetroCaribe program has been a chief source of government finance for several years now, and many have questioned the spending undertaken by the government of Belize from it. Some believe that priorities such as the education system should be addressed, but with a budget of over $100 million dedicated to education, youth development, and sports, does this sprawling ministry really need PetroCaribe dollars? We asked Minister of Education Patrick Farber about it today.
Tell you that I've long been saying that I think PetroCaribe funds aside, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports gets its fair share. Now, you may be able to argue Youth and Sports doesn't get anything, and I'd be the first one to champion that, anything much compared to what is needed there. But in terms of education, we have gotten over 25% of the national budget that comes from other funding, and especially our local funding. So for me to say and demand even more for education from PetroCaribe funds would not be proper. I've always maintained that we need to first be able to make the best use of the monies that are allotted to us. I don't think that we're nowhere near that. You've heard me speak on this many, many times. We need to get the best bang for what is allotted to us under the regular allocations now.
While according to Minister Farber, the ministry's PetroCaribe allotment has, for the most part, been relegated to special projects. There are tangible results which he outlined, including an upcoming program that directors of local youth programs should listen to.
Tell you that I've long been saying that I think were PetroCaribe to students the Ministry of Education, the PetroCaribe initiative, youth and of course we get the fair share now. You may be able to argue youth and sports CXC payments, anything, and I'd be the first one to champion that, our students and the society, much compared to what is needed there. Another benefit. But in terms of education, we have gotten over 25% allocations given to our ministry for other funding, and especially in turn give them local funding to their constituents. So for even me to say and demand even more for education from PetroCaribe, I'm satisfied that we would not getting a share of those proper monies. I've always maintained that by the way, first you will hear shortly that the Prime Minister will announce the monies that are allotted to us. I don't think that Carib summer of sports. You've heard me speak on this many times. That we are glad to get the best bang for what is allotted to us under the regular initiative that will be funded from the PetroCaribe funds, that will see groups that offer summer programs be able to apply for funding to better operate their operations, to keep our young people gainfully occupied over the summer.
You're watching the 9 o'clock news. Stay tuned for more of the day's news right after these messages.
My dad never misses a football match.
Me neither.
Are you enjoying this game or what?
I'm loving every minute of it.
I can't miss this game, but I can't see it either.
Here, now you can. The game's on me.
Now, wherever there's internet, you don't have to miss a single minute of TV. And the best part of MyTV is it costs as little as $10 monthly for Central TV and Internet's customers. With 25 channels at your fingertips, you'll always be tuned in. MyTV is available only at Central TV and Internet. Log on and discover a new world of mobile TV.
Hey, do you happen to have a beer?
As it launched its challenge on the 13th senator on Wednesday, the People's United Party reflected on the political party's relationships with civil society since the massive national protests of 2005. It seemed then that civil society organizations were clearly in lockstep with the United Democratic Party, who had promised them serious reform of government. They have not delivered, and the organizations are wary of attaching their fortunes to the PUP lest the same fate befall them. According to Francis Fonseca, they should not have to. Here is how he envisions such a relationship working.
And so they are wary. They are very wary. They are cynical. They are skeptical. And yes, our challenge is to try to engage with them in as vigorous a way as possible, to let them understand that, in fact, we are serious about moving forward on these reforms. And that is why we have introduced things like, we have drafted legislation like the Petroleum Revenue Management Fund, or the Petrocarib Revenue Management Fund Act, which would allow for these things to be put in law. We're not asking these NGOs, the civil society, to trust us as individuals anymore. We're saying, let's sit down together, let's put together a package of legislation that will bind the future governments of Belize, so that we're not depending on individuals, we're not depending on who is sitting in Belmopan anymore, but we are in fact depending on and placing our confidence and trust in systems and structures that are underpinned by legislation.
It caught many by surprise when at his press conference on Wednesday last week, Prime Minister Dean Barrow announced that some $150,000 would be granted from Petrocaribe funds for the building of an ecumenical chapel on the grounds of the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital. While the opposition, People's United Party, says it is not against the idea, they do contend that projects such as these should not have been decided on by the executive, specifically the Prime Minister.
In terms of spending money on an ecumenical center on the grounds of the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital, our position has been very clear, man. We're not against the Petrocarib projects. What we are against is the manner in which it is being spent, the lack of accountability. Again, it should not be for Mr. Barrow to sit and determine alone how these monies are to be spent. We have consistently argued that there must be a system in place that will allow for these funds, and in fact the broader agreement that governs the spending, the use of Petrocarib funds, provides for that kind of thing. But because it's not in Mr. Barrow's interest, he doesn't allow for that to happen. Where people can submit projects, so the Council of Churches could have submitted their project to the Petrocarib Management Board directly and say, we want to fund the Ecumenical Center. They don't have to go through Mr. Barrow or through the executive to get that done. That was the way in which the entire program was structured.
Fonseca went on to dismiss government's announcement plans to buy back Superbond debt and pay for nationalization of Belize Telemedia Limited, BTL, and Belize Electricity Limited, BEL.
Well, first of all, I view with extreme skepticism, and you'll allow me to have some skepticism and cynicism as it relates to pronouncements by Dean Barrow. You will note that he made it very clear that all of these things he's talking about, setting aside monies for nationalization and buying back the debt, are 2016 and 2017. So, in my view, it is just like his rhetoric on this issue we're discussing here today, the 13th senator, a lot of empty political rhetoric. I want to see the meat of it. Clearly, these are important, critically important issues that we have to address, both the debt and the nationalizations, payback. We've been saying for a very long time, the government has had its head in the sand, pretending that these debts don't exist. And at the same time, we should be very clear. He talks about the super bond, but Mr. Barrow has borrowed more than the super bond over the past few years.
And in one last piece of Petrocaribe-related news, Fonseca declared that the PUP would stick to its guns and not take a cent of the $25,000 Mother's Day chair being offered to their representatives from the program. UDP representatives will get twice that amount. Also, he claimed not to be aware of any PUP representative coming forward asking for the monies, as the Prime Minister claimed at his press conference. In August of 2014, then the workers of Belize Maintenance Limited, BML, caused great disturbance outside of City Hall on North Front Street, where they had been protesting against Mayor Darrell Bradley and the Belize City Council for falling behind on their payments to the company, which in turn caused the company to consider firing 50 employees and downsizing costs as they usually do. Over 40 of the workers were eventually arrested for littering and unlawful assembly. Their charges were eventually dropped after the government intervened to settle the dispute. But caught up in that Monday morning melee was 55-year-old PUP activist Albert Vaughan, who was in the vicinity of the Queen's Street police station reporting events live from the party's radio organ, Vibes Radio, when he was suddenly detained by police. He was charged with loitering in a public place, and his case went to trial in April. After hearing testimony from two police officers who seemed to contradict each other's account of events, Vaughan's attorney, Karim Musa and Kevin Arthurs, submitted that their client had no case to answer because he was not warned specifically that he was in violation and he had a constitutional right to work that the police violated. Today, he was vindicated when Magistrate Hetty May Stewart upheld the attorney's submission and acquitted him of the misdemeanor charge. He spoke to reporters outside court.
First, I'd like to say thanks to Karim and Mr. Arthurs who believe that I was out there doing my job from the beginning. This was a political case, man. This is nothing but a political case. And I like to say the magistrate did the right thing on the truth when I said that I have no case to answer, because there is no case to answer. Mr. Musa was right all along. So, and also the other people who supported me during this case, I like to say thank you very much.
Were you expecting when you were gone out there that day that you would be treated the way you were?
Yeah, the police was hostile. The officer in charge of that operation was very hostile towards me. And of course, I knew that the police would have done something that day.
According to Vaughan's attorney, Karim Musa, despite Vaughan's political affiliation, the case is important in maintaining a free press not under intimidation from authorities.
If I were you, my brother, I would certainly feel cause for concern because it could have happened to any of you. Fortunately, you all don't work for a political party, but simply because Albert was out there working for the People's United Party, he was targeting. And I think all of us, all of you guys in the media need to stand up when instances like this occur, man, because one day it could be you.
Vaughan and his attorneys told us they will decide whether to pursue damages for unlawful detention. This puts an end to the entire BML saga, as the workers' charges were dropped last October, and in January a majority of employees of BML were absorbed into the City Council. The news on the national channel. Stay tuned for a look at the weather right after these messages.
Me neither.
Are you enjoying this game or what?
I'm loving every minute of it.
I can't miss this game, but I can't see it either.
Here, now you can. The game's on me.
Now, wherever there's internet, you don't have to miss a single minute of TV. And the best part of MyTV is it costs as little as $10 monthly for Central TV and Internet's customers. With 25 channels at your fingertips, you'll always be tuned in. MyTV is available only at Central TV and Internet. Log on and discover a new world of mobile TV.
Hey, do you happen to have a beer?
To end the news, here are the headlines again. Shooting incident in Belize City leaves one man injured. Political activist acquitted of misdemeanor charge. And government says PUP lawsuit against the Prime Minister is a flimsy political maneuver. With the headlines, we end this edition of the 9 o'clock news. Thank you for joining us. I am Tefara Martinez. Have a good evening and a good night.